Iran's new supreme leader released a statement this morning as Tehran intensifies attacks on cargo ships and energy infrastructure across the Middle East. Oil prices continue to rise, prompting the Trump administration to tap its strategic reserves. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
Iran claimed responsibility for this fiery attack on a U.S.-owned crude oil tanker off the coast of Iraq. In Oman, fuel storage tanks were targeted as Iran steps up strikes on energy infrastructure on Gulf neighbors. Kuwait's foreign ministry called it a dangerous escalation that threatens global trade.
You've got to go through short-term pain to solve a long-term problem.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright acknowledged it's a significant disruption, but downplayed it as temporary. The Trump administration announced starting next week it will release 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. President Trump on social media Thursday said the U.S. is the largest oil producer in the world, so when prices go up, we make a lot of money. But he said of far greater interest and importance is stopping Iran from having nuclear weapons.
The president says the U.S. has decimated military targets in Iran, but he wouldn't say whether regime change is necessary for the U.S. to declare victory.
Most people say it's already been won. It's just a question of when. When do we stop? We don't want to let it regrow, and ideally would like to see somebody in there that knows what they're doing. In other words, they can build a country.
Iran state media released a statement attributed to its new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, who vowed to avenge the blood of the martyrs lost and continue using the closure of the Strait of Hormuz as a pressure tool. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News confirms the FBI sent a bulletin to police in California suggesting Iran may try to attack U.S. soil. The memo stems from an apparent tip that came in last month before the Iran war started. It warns Iran may try to launch drones at the West Coast in a seaborne surprise attack. Law enforcement and security officials say there is no immediate threat, but drone warfare experts say the threat should still be taken seriously.
What we're talking about here is precision systems that have small conventional warheads on board that can target high-rise buildings or key critical infrastructure. So we're talking about smaller blasts usually.
Cornell professor James Patton Rogers stresses the U.S. has the technology to identify and intercept any kind of aerial threat before it comes close to land. We're seeing the impacts from the war with Iran here at home. AAA says the statewide average of the price of gas in Arkansas is about $3.12. The price jump is not only because of what's happening with Iran, but also from the switchover from winter blend gasoline to summer blend gasoline. A AAA spokesperson says the price of crude oil has just leveled out, which could potentially slow down those increases.
Good news is prices on crude oil have actually leveled off over the last several days. So there is potential hope that the increases will, maybe not be coming as swiftly as they have at our local stations, or pricing may begin to level off depending on, where the conflict goes next.
Even though topping off the tank costs more than it usually does, he says Arkansas is still one of the 10 states with the lowest statewide average. Well, spring break travelers are facing some long lines at airports across the country as the partial government shutdown continues. New data obtained by CBS News shows more than 300 TSA officers have quit since the shutdown began. One former TSA officer in Salt Lake City says going without a paycheck forced him to make a difficult decision.
I love the agency. I love the people that I worked with, but my family has to come first. I think the hardest thing is seeing the struggle that my wife was going through and not trying to bring more stress to her, but seeing her cry every night. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to survive?
Officials warn the staffing shortages could create potential security concerns as airlines expect a record 171 million travelers to fly during the spring break season.